Today. Welcome to Time Walk TV, and it is spoiler season, baby. We are here with some core 2020 spoilers. We're just going to jump right into it with one of the new red cards here. We got Cavalier of Flame. It's going to be 3 red and 2 generic for a 6/5. So we already got great stats. It's a 5-drop 6/5. It's got 3 abilities. 1 in a red, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste. So any creatures that come in, they can attack immediately. When Cavalier of Flame enters the battlefield, discard any number of cards and draw that many cards. Super good ability. Really strong as far as, filtering out a lot of stuff that you don't want. You can really churn through your deck, and it kind of goes into the next ability. When Cavalier of Flame dies, it deals X damage to each opponent and each planswalker they control, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. So Wizards has been pushing this whole lands matter in your graveyard type thing, or lands matter in general, for a little bit now, and this card kind of just pushes that over the edge. So you can really just dump your hand, draw a whole new hand. Say you have 6 cards, you dump all 6 of them, 4 of them are lands, draw a whole new 6. Later in the game, maybe you play another one. Since they're not legendary, you can just keep playing them. It's a huge body, pumps up your whole team, can really get the damage in, and if they ever try to kill it, then it's going to deal a big pocket damage right there. It's going to be awesome. I love this card. I think it's an insane mythic. It's going to get played a lot. I think Big Red is probably on the comeback with this thing. I can't wait to see what happens with it, because it's going to crush. It's just going to crush. Next on our list here, we have Chandra's Regulator. It's 1 colorless and a red for a legendary artifact. It's going to be in every bundle, I guess. It's one of the bundle promos. You can still get it in packs, but it's going to come in the bundle. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. That's a very Chandra thing to do. It's nice that you can do it every single time you activate a Chandra. And 1 tap, discard a mountain card or a red card and draw a card. So this is pretty sweet, because in a big red deck, or even a mono red burn deck, you can just filter through your deck, find what you need. All your cards are already red, so it doesn't matter. So every time you discard, you're going to be drawing a card. On top of having infinite number of Chandras apparently now, since we got 3 in this set. You're not going to lack any Chandra to make the first ability work here. So, you might be able to, +1 on a Chandra and get it twice for just an extra mana. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know if this will see much play, or if people are going to take the Chandra tribal thing all the way, but it's really fun to see these kind of cards and see if, maybe they'll be playable in a constructed format, and see if anybody, tries to break them here. So. All right, next card on our list here is going to be one of our white cards. It's going to be the next Planeswalker that we've seen besides Chandra in this set, Ajani, Strength of the Pride. So it's going to be 2 colorless and 2 generic and 2 white for Ajani Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. You're going to +1, gain life equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of Planeswalkers you control. That's pretty interesting. -2, create a 2/2 white cat soldier token creature named Ajani Pridemate with, whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on Ajani Pridemate. So this is just a token that is an exact copy of the card Ajani's Pridemate. So that's actually pretty cool. So you can bring him in -3, get an Ajani Pridemate, and next turn you can gain 2 life and make your guy a 3/3. So that's pretty sweet little synergy they got there. And the 0 is if you have at least 15 life more than your starting total, then exile Ajani Strength of Pride and each artifact and creature your opponents control. So the whole 15 extra life, so you need to be at 35 in Standard Constructed, or 55 in Commander. But both of those are totally doable. It's a one-sided board wipe, so you fill up your board, you're plussing Ajani, you're gaining 5-6 life or something, or you're using the Explore package from Green White, or the new Sorin, give your guys lifelink. So gaining that life is pretty easy in Standard right now, And then the minus is just a one-sided board wipe, and you can just swing into your team. So I can see this in like a green-white tokens list, where you can really ramp out the creatures quickly, gain a bunch of life. Or I could see it in like an Abzan mid-rangey style build, possibly just in the sideboard. But I think it's definitely going to see play in constructed. It's a little bit better than people give it credit for. I think once they use the 0 ability a few times, it does exile the planeswalker itself, but I still think that it's worth a slot in the sideboard and possibly even the main board of some decks. So let's go ahead and move on to one of our black cards here. This is my favorite card that I've seen so far. Scheming Symmetry. It's 1 black for a sorcery. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles that library and puts it on top. So this is basically a vampiric tutor for both players. Pretty high on this card. I think it's super, super good and very constructive playable. Yes, they get to get the card that they want as well, but I think running it as like a 2 of in some of these black control decks, or even in like rock decks, or maybe even like Sultai, just like being able to search up any card for 1 mana is super strong. Even though your opponent gets to do it, I think it's just too good of an effect not to be able to play. I know there's been talks of like using Ashiok to mill it after they search for it, or something along those lines. A little cheeky, but hey, I mean, there's a lot of ways to kind of get around the negative side of this, but I think the plus side is just really fantastic, and I think it's going to be played a lot. I don't know if it's going to be played as a 4 of. I don't know if you want to do it turn 1. But you can get any cards. You can get land, you can get planeswalker creature, whatever you're looking for. If you're playing like a combo deck, you can, search up your win cons and stuff like that. So I've been messing around with a kind of infinite combo on Arena. So this might actually help it out quite a bit, being able to search for what you need at any time, basically. So this is really interesting, and I can't wait to make a video on playing this card when it comes out. Okay, and moving on to our next black card, Dread Presence. For 3 generic and a black for a 3/3 nightmare creature. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You may draw a card and lose 1 life. Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target, and you gain 2 life. This is one of those cards that probably isn't constructed playable. It's really pushed toward the mono black side because you want the swamps to come in so you can get in the effect. But because of its converted mana cost and its power and toughness, I don't think it's much of a contender really for any of those decks. They will kind of want to be going a little bit more over the top with how they're like mid-rangey. So this is kind of a slow, grindy, incremental value as it goes. So it's a really sweet card. I like that they brought back the Nightmare Creature type, and the abilities are super cool. I just don't see that as playable. It's definitely going to be fun, casual, or possibly commander. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our multicolored cards now. This is Kaikar, the Wind's Fury. It's 1 generic blue, red, white, so the Jeskai colors. It's a 3/3 flyer, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. The other ability is you can sacrifice the spirit to add red. So this thing's actually really cool. It's a decent stat line. It's 4-drop 3/3 flyer. That's totally fine, mainly because it has this clause that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, like a planeswalker, artifact, enchantment, instant sorcery, everything like that, you're going to get the 1/1 white spirit. So this kind of pairs up pretty well with Saheeli, in the fact that you can play this in a planeswalker style deck, or all spells deck in the Jeskai colors, and you can gain, with both of them out, you're getting servos, you're getting flyers, everything like that. And the added bonus is that you can sack your spirits to make red mana. If you have like a fireball, I guess there's Banefire still in standard, we can use that. That's pretty cool. The problem is it dies to Deafening Clarion, which is a really good card that Jeskai kind of needs against the small aggressive deck, so that's kind of a bummer. And all the tokens and everything do as well. But I think, in addition to Shock, Lightning Strike, Chart of Course, everything like that, all these cheap draw spells, I think it's a really good card. 4-drop is a little bit much, but in Standard it's actually not too bad. Should be able to do some really cool, fun stuff with this. Definitely a great mythic. Really cool that they brought back the Jeskai color cards. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, and if anyone builds around this card or just kind of slots it into, an existing Jeskai shell. Okay, now moving on, we have another multicolored card. This is actually the Buy a Box promo for the set. Rieni, Angel of Rebirth. I'm not really sure the pronunciation on that, but it's going to be 2 generic and Naya, so it's going to be red, green, and white. This is a 5/4 flyer for 5, so pretty good stat line again. Other multicolored creatures you control get +1/+0, so a little bit of a lured effect. And whenever another multicolored creature you control dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So it has a few things going for it. The stat line and flying are really good. Multicolored creatures, we just came out of a multicolored block, so there's going to be a lot of those. I think the main thing is that it's an angel, so it could pair pretty well with Feather or Aurelia, and the fact that you can get those cards back if they die is actually a huge benefit to that deck, because you want to keep getting your spells back with Feather, but if it dies you want to make sure that you can get that back too, so that's actually pretty cool, and it pumps your team. Naya actually gives the Feather deck a lot more pump spells, so that kind of makes everything pretty nice there. Other than that, I don't see this card being played too much in Standard. It might be fringe, but just not powerful enough for Standard. Alright, and finally on our list, we have some really exciting news. The Leylines are back, and we have 2 awesome reprints. Leyline of Sanctity and Leyline of the Void, 2 modern staple cards that their price has gone up tremendously, especially Leyline of the Void because of all the graveyard decks. We have a new Leyline of Combustion. Whenever you or at least one permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Leyline of Combustion deals 2 damage to that player. So basically, if they target you or any of your creatures, lands, any permanent you have, they're going to get a shock. So that's kind of a neat little insulation type deal. But the main thing about the Leylines are that if they're in your opening hand before the start of the game, you can put them into play for free, which is huge. Not having to pay the 4 mana to play them is actually pretty significant. All the Leylines are 4 mana. They've always been 4 mana, but there's been a few of them. Really excited to see what the green and the blue one is. The blue one specifically, I love blue cards. I know a lot of people don't like blue cards or don't like blue players, but be nice to me. I just love to play the blue spells and draw the cards, so hopefully it's the old blue one where you get to play things basically with flash, so that would be pretty cool. Yeah, these not too much to talk about with these. Kind of same thing we've seen for a while, and the new one is a little underpowered, but I can see it working pretty well. So that's going to be the end of our Magic 2020 spoilers for Monday, and we're going to see what else comes out the end of this week. I know that they're really pushing a ton of spoilers. This has been crazy how many spoilers have come out. I only covered a very, very small amount of them. Pre-release is 2 weeks from Friday, so they're most likely going to have the whole set out this week. So it's going to be a crazy week making videos. But hey, if you liked the video, go and give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Comment down below. Tell me what you think of these cards and what decks that you want to play them in. And we'll be back tomorrow with another video. So stay tuned.